Welcome back.
Yet again, Joseph is not with us because, well, he is with us, but he's on a well-deserved break, which we know he's really not going to take because he'll be busy working on stuff.
So
but we're
emails.
we're gonna try to encourage him to rest.
Yes.
So today's podcast is about
Both of
cases
you talking about your recent wins, and I'll
All
chip in with
three
mine.
of us.
and yours.
And I'll chip in with mine. But recent wins, sex assault trials. You both fight it out. Who wants to go first?
Ladies first. I'm a gentleman.
Sure.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Phew. I passed the buck. That was smooth.
All right. So the background of the case. These were two young people,
Okay.
male, female, university students,
Oh, so young.
very young.
Very young.
18, 19.
Okay.
See, they should never have gotten rid of grade 13. They're too young when they go to university now. Seriously. But sorry, that was just my rant, mini rant.
OIC, I think it was after.
Yeah, I had to do grade 13.
Anyway, when I
Go
was
ahead,
in
go
high school,
ahead.
they didn't have any.
Yeah, of course, because I'm old. But
Right. You said that.
no, she said that.
All right. So they met at university and they started dating. They went on a few dates. They were in a relationship. Then they come over to the accused, the client's place. Then they've been, spending some time together, and then, the version of the events has a very different route, right?
That's-
So, yeah,
yeah.
right. So the allegations is that he sexually assaulted her. Then she comes to his place the next day.
Wait, if I made the sexual assault, was it like he touched me inappropriately, or was it like a penetrative sexual assault?
Yeah, so full-blown penetration, that he the client dragged the complainant into the bedroom, forced her into
Also,
the bedroom.
violence is alleged.
Right, forced her into the bedroom by, cuffing her arms, forcing her to the bedroom, just like undressing her and forcing himself on her. So yeah, just a full sex assault. And then she comes to his place the next day. And then similar thing happened, similar allegations, and same thing, like he drags her to the bedroom.
Same way.
Yeah.
Is this on campus or sorry?
No, this is not on campus.
Okay.
This is his residence.
Okay.
So the second day, she says she went back and she was sexually assaulted the same way.
Yeah, the same way. He cuffs her arms, he drags her to the bedroom, forces himself on her, then she stays over at his place. The next morning, they, engage in some homework, and then he forces himself on her again.
So we're up to 3 now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was 3 counts of sexual assault.
Okay.
And she leaves his place.
How long did they know each other?
I would say 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pretty recent relationship.
And despite these, he's been forcing me to have sex with me, she keeps going to his house.
Right,
And
which
this
was one of the issues.
Right.
There's also messages. I had to bring the records application to be able to introduce the messages, because the breakup was interesting as well. She leaves his place, and then he calls her a couple of times. She doesn't pick up the phone, and then he breaks up on the social media, like public social media.
Ooh.
So that gets her really
Harsh.
upset. She sends
would
some
sting.
really harsh messages, and then he follows up with some other posts, and then
He's not doing himself.
No, he's
no,
digging
not
that
at
hole.
all.
Digging the hole.
Not at all. And
He's
then
digging the
she
hole.
goes to police. And interestingly enough, at the police station, right in the statement, she says, "I'm here because of the posts. I want him to take them out. I want to make sure that there's no more other posts that I'm not seeing. That's what's upsetting me." And she sort of provides very little detail about the actual sex assault, but keeps on coming about this post and how she's upset with him and how he wasn't a good boyfriend.
What were the posts? What were the contents?
It's just one of
Just
them was
breakup posts?
of them was a 2-page rant,
Okay.
how she was not a good girlfriend, and the other one was how he's great but she's not, pretty much, like,
So
it's
he wasn't
upsetting.
a good boyfriend.
No.
But
Right.
but he wasn't a criminal either.
Well, right. So that's why it's important to separate, because in her providing a statement, she was sort of saying that he did this, he did that. The majority of the statement was really about the post and how he was not a great boyfriend, and very little about the sexual assault. And, which is also suspicious.
And that's the theme you were
Right,
getting when
right,
reviewing the
right.
statements.
And I wanted the messages to be introduced.
Right.
I filed a lot of messages, right, from pretty much from the day when they decided to go to his place, and until she went to police. I filed all the messages. I explained the relevance. The messages go in, and
What kind of messages?
So one was an Instagram message where he posted a photo, a particular photo, and then said that, we broke up because you were not good, and, I got better things in life to do, things like that. So I can see how it's upsetting, right? Especially since this is a public post.
Yeah. Right.
And
Did
then,
they share a circle of social friends?
No, not
No?
really.
Okay.
No. And the other post was like 2 pages, again, why she wasn't the girlfriend for him, and, why he needs somebody different. Okay, so again, I can
He's
also
really
see,
pressing all the wrong
right.
buttons.
And then she asked to delete those. Like, there's conversation how how dare you post them? You were not a great boyfriend. You've got better things in life to do. No, it's me. And she sort of, and the other thing why she was upset is that she also made it clear many times to police is that she was the one to break up with him, and she was upset that the narrative was that he was the one to break up with her. So the messages were really important, right? And right, and so in her messages to him after he made those posts, she's saying, delete them. What does he do? He's not deleting them.
Right.
He keeps them.
And that makes her...
Right. Only when
Triggers her a bit more.
Only when he's arrested. That's when...
He goes to remove it.
Right.
Oh, boy.
So I introduce all those messages. They go in. Again, those are not, publicly talk about your relationship, do public breakups. I can understand how it's upsetting, but doesn't mean that she was sexually assaulted.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that he sexually assaulted her.
Right.
Yeah.
And
It
I was
might be a goof, but not...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I was using those messages to show that that's the reason for her to fabricate the allegations.
Right. She was angry.
Yes.
And you were able to do just that.
Exactly. He
Good
was
job,
acquitted.
counsel.
Cool.
Thank you. And this was a 3-day trial, very intense. The complainant...
And your client also was, he testified on his behalf?
Yes, the client testified, and interestingly enough, at a trial, she could not remember the messages at all.
Oh.
So one of my questions was, first of all, so the initial visit to his place, after the alleged sexual assault happened, she goes home, and from the home she texts, "Thank you so much for tonight." Okay. And
This is after the first allegation.
Right.
And she doesn't remember sending those.
She didn't, but so some of the messages, so I think I need to go back. So some of the messages at stage 1 were, both the prosecutor and the judge agreed they were not records, so she hasn't received them. So at stage 2, where she receives the messages, the application gets the lawyer, she didn't see all of them, because the ones that were not records, I blacked them out. Okay, and she didn't get those. So some of the messages that were sort of like, "Thank you so much for tonight," there'll be other ones. She didn't, she didn't receive them, so she didn't. So she was sort of surprised by them. And I obviously asked her about the "thank you so much for tonight," and then I asked her, why she came to his place, and then she's saying, "Well, We met in university, and then he forced me to come to his place. He was like saying that all these bad things, that forced me to come to his place. And then I show the messages, and the messages all show, can I come to your place? And then she was saying, well, I was just lying. I wanted to test him. I wasn't planning to come to his place. So I'm just going through all the messages until we get to the message that says, I'm here. I'm here downstairs. So I'm like, and then she saw the messages. She was sort of, tried to explain.
She never provided these messages from her side,
No,
did she?
No, she hasn't. So the messages that she was provided with at stage 2 were the ones where, like the breakup, the breakup
the
posts.
bad ones.
The breakup posts.
Of course.
So those are the ones that she did see, and then I put them to her. So there were other inconsistencies in her narrative, that she didn't admit didn't disclose in chief questions, during chief questions, but did admit to in cross-examination. And they were major inconsistencies because they would just break up her story completely. How she was dancing, how she was forced into the bedroom, and then I had to put my client's version of events to her, and then I was saying how she was, actually dancing for him and all that, and she actually admitted to that. And then, that was inconsistent as well, because her story was that, he forcefully dragged her to the bedroom, sexual assaulted her, and then somehow, she danced for him, and then she agreed that, she took her own clothes, and she actually told the client to leave, like, the cap on because she liked it. So she admitted to that in cross-examination. And the judge was sort of...
left on a reasonable
Left with some doubts.
Right, left with doubt because, that's a major hit to the credibility, right? Because it didn't fit with her original story at all.
Of, like, forcefully being taken to the bedroom,
like,
and then
suddenly she's actually was also dancing for him. And
Right. Yeah, so that is it. Well, interesting, I must say. And if you don't mind me asking, when was your client arrested? The time frame?
They started dating in December, and then he was arrested in April.
Last year?
So they started dating December of 2023, and he was arrested April of 2024.
And such a long time for the not guilty. It's a long process.
It is.
Right,
Long
very
process.
stressful.
Very
Like the
stressful
client
process.
broke down when the judge was reading the judgment, and how, he goes through all the, the background, the version of events, what the Crown submissions are, defense submissions are, and sort of more at the end
Finally
where he
hear the
gets
not
to...
guilty. It's such
Right,
a heavy burden is just
the
lifted off of
client
you.
broke
Yeah.
down.
This episode is sponsored by EasyDNS. EasyDNS is a domain name, registrar, and host that has a 30-year track record in the domain and web hosting industry. Whether it be cancel culture, platform attacks, or nefarious actors online, move your domain and web hosting over to EasyDNS, one of the most secure web hosting services, and help support Not on Record in the process. All you have to do is go to easydns.com/notonrecord, or when you sign up at EasyDNS, use the promo code NOTONRECORD at checkout. Thank you, EasyDNS, for your support of Not on Record. And now back to our podcast. Thank you.
Good job.
Good win.
Thank
That
you.
is a very good win.
Well, the client, he was very good on the stand, answered truthfully the questions, wasn't shaking by cross-examination.
That's wonderful. Well, good
Cool.
job. Good
Thank
job
you.
to you. Absolutely. Next, Mr.
Oh, you
Bury.
just love grilling me, don't you?
You have no, but you have such good cases.
I do. I do. This most recent one was very interesting. So imagine you two are having dinner with your partners at home. There's a knock on the door. It's the police. And they are here to arrest your partner for gross indecency, buggery, which you don't even know what it is at that point, alleging that 40 years ago, he and a convicted sex offender raped this boy who was their same age.
40 years ago.
40 years ago.
Wow.
They were all in the same hockey league, so it was hockey kids, basically. The co-accused was slightly older, and he did, in fact, have a record for this type of behavior. He had, pled out some time ago and did his time, etc. And it was alleged that my client and he lured this youth to the first person's apartment and basically raped them.
And your client was a youth as well at that
Yep.
time?
They were all,
The co-accused?
yeah, co-accused they were all 20-somethings, and the boy was 12. The complainant was 12 or 13 years
so
old.
they were not youth. They were 20 years
Well,
old.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
They were young, but they were not
youth.
under 18.
Right.
Okay.
The complainant was roughly 12, 13 at the time.
I see.
Horrible case. Can you imagine?
Yeah, the facts.
A full search warrant then conducted on my client's house, looking for anything they could try to find to support
What
the
happened 40 years
allegation.
ago?
40 years ago. Of course, they found nothing. But hence his journey began. So we had his trial recently.
What is buggery? Tell us about it.
What kind of question is that? What is buggery?
You can just tell people to Google it.
Yeah, just Google buggery. It used to be a criminal code offense. Buggery, I think. In any event, it's unpleasant regardless. So,
What kind of question is that?
yeah, what kind of question is that?
I don't think the viewers know.
They can Google buggery.
Right.
It's a form of sexual assault. Let's just leave it that way. The most sophisticated version.
Yes. So in any event, the allegations involved, the one who had a record had lured this boy, he's still in trial, allegedly lured this young boy on 3 prior occasions. And then the allegation that my client was present for one of those occasions and had his way with the young boy during that incident. So yeah, that was how the trial began. So it was a hard trial. Sorry.
It's very complicated as well when you have a child complainant.
Right.
Because now we're an adult.
Who's now an adult. Everyone
Right.
we're adults now.
right.
So
What's complicated is how old this case is.
yeah,
right?
well, that's another
memory-
rant I have.
Okay.
40 years. That's.
I had mine, which was also like 1970.
Right. We really should have some form of statute of limitations on these
I'd
types
agree.
of
I'd agree.
allegations. I understand some years for a complainant to process things and maybe then, make the decision to come forward with allegations. So, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, but 40 years? How do you defend that? Everything's changed. The location's changed. The people are gone. Witnesses are no longer present.
Right.
So,
Yours is 50 years, right?
1970.
So, of course, the client had nothing to do with this. He knew the co-accused. They were all in the hockey world. They were kids. He was an assistant coach. The other co-accused was a coach. So they were all well known to each other. Except for the complainant and my client, he really didn't have any connection to him, whereas the other person did. So in any event, tried to convince the Crown, there's really, what's your case here? And it was a tough call for the Crown. She was very fair. She goes, yeah, this is a tough one, but let's just go through it. So we did. Co-accused counsel went first in cross-examining the complainant, who, as I said, is now an adult. And that was tough because he was a very combative witness, an angry witness.
The complainant?
Yeah. Yeah, he got emotional. Everything that you can do as this type of complainant, he ticked off all the boxes and did. He was a very difficult witness for the first counsel who cross-examined. She did a great job, but it was tough. A lot of arguments back and forth, well, how would you feel? All that kind of stuff. So as I sat there scratching my head, going, how do I turn this around? I just decided, no, I'm going to do the good cop cross-examination. And I decided, let's not focus on what is here. Let's focus on what's not present in this case. So I basically had prepared 15 to 20 questions, and I very gently with the complainant, I said, well, my client was never at your house, correct? My client was never here, correct? My client was never here, correct? It just went through it all gently, slowly, got him into a pattern of acknowledging and saying no, 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 like there must have been 15 to 20 no's. Because he had identified my client. he claimed from some newspaper article from the 70s or 80s regarding, again, the hockey world. I recognized that name, and then he got his partner to Google the name, and then the face came up, and
that's how I remember it was him.
Yeah, that's how I remembered it was him. And it was interesting because I really dissected the words he was using, because he said, yes, as soon as I saw that face and I saw those eyes, I had a bad feeling which triggered everything. And the typical type of question, I said, well, you'd agree with me, a bad feeling is not a distinct memory, correct? And he had used the phrase, I've spent decades trying to suppress what happened just as a self-protective mechanism. So I said, okay, well, let's talk about those words. Suppress means try to forget, right? And he agreed. And I said, that's the opposite of try to remember, isn't it? Right. And he said, yeah. So then I kind of brought it all together at the end. I said, so if my client were to testify that he was not involved in any of this, would you agree or disagree with him? And then it felt like an eternity. It must have been 2 to 3 minutes. The courtroom, like it was a Perry Mason moment, like dead silence. Him just looking down. And then finally he put his head up and said, I don't know. And that was the end of it. So the Crown basically got up and said, Your Honor, under the circumstances, I'm inviting you to dismiss the charges, which is what a
just against your client.
Yeah,
right?
just against my client, which is
Kudos to the Crown as well.
Yeah, well, no, she was very fair. I appreciated it, but the judge was like, and we were like both looking at the judge, going, huh? And the judge was like, well, this trial began with him being pretty clear it was your client. Because it was. In the beginning, he goes, yep, that's him. He pointed him out. That's him. That's the guy. And then it obviously evolved into, I don't know. So the judge said, no, I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm going to enter a finding of not guilty based specifically on he doesn't know, period. So that was the end of that. But it was, poor client, he was just, his wife had a mini stroke during the course of the trial.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, I remember you had mentioned that.
I reconnected.
Really stressful.
Yeah, it was. No, it was
Stressful
so
for everyone,
stressful
for
to
you,
the
for
point
the client,
where
everyone.
I checked in on him a few days ago, and his wife said he had admitted himself into the hospital just because of the stress. It was like having major problems coping with it all, coming down from it all. But terrifying process. Like, can you imagine?
Good job.
Yes, good job.
Good strategy.
Congratulations.
Well,
yes.
you gotta, that's why Joe and I talk about this a lot. It's very careful to really draft out your cross-examinations.
That's true.
And never ask a question you don't know the answer to, or rarely. I got the hand.
Yeah, rarely.
And you know what?
Rarely.
I also think
Sometimes you can go out on a limb and ask a question if the answer,
Sometimes I do ask, I need clarification from the witness. I'm like,
what do you
why are you saying what you're saying? Because
Right.
I'm left with this absurd answer.
Right.
And sometimes what I receive is gold. So,
Right, no.
you know.
And that comes with experience, knowing when to ask that question that you not necessarily know the answer to. But as a general proposition for young lawyers, I think,
Right. Don't ask a question.
Don't ask a question you don't know the answer to, because you're just asking for that rabbit hole to fall down into.
And I like it how you said that, you were just, you took the opposite strategy, you were not combative.
There's no point.
Because
typically.
sometimes, I feel like sometimes the client think that you need to be always aggressive,
I
right?
don't need
Destroy
to be
the
aggressive,
witness.
destroy.
No.
But that's not the case. It
No,
really
no.
depends who the witness is, how the witness is answering, what's going to actually... Because the ultimate goal is to have your client
Right.
acquitted, right? So that's the goal. So
And you don't
whatever
have to be an asshole
gets you
to be
there.
a fearless advocate for your client. You can still do your job by being professional, respectful, and nice. You don't have to be...
It's rare that you have to beat up a witness. If they're getting confrontational, obnoxious with you, then obviously you need to contain that. But, what am I going to do? I got a 50-year-old complainant there crying and swearing and agitated. What am I going to do? Beat them up more? It's like,
well, if it's a child witness, that's a different story. I think there was
also it's very different.
well,
there was an episode on that.
Yeah. Children witnesses are a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah. Well, good job,
Yeah,
counsel.
good job.
And last but not least, you're just itching.
Tell us about your
Tell us your
case.
story.
My recent win was, this is I don't think anybody else has had this situation. My client who was charged with sexual assault was a female. So this was the first female client that I've had charged with sexual assault, and the complainant is also female. Typically what we get is our clients are males and the complainants are females.
Same
Well,
sex
or male and
assaults.
male.
They're pretty
I
rare
haven't had
though.
them yet.
Okay, wait.
You know,
Not in a
I've-
sex assault though.
I've
Yeah.
had, yeah.
You've
Yeah.
had? Oh,
Yes.
interesting. I did
Yeah.
Yeah,
not
I've had
know
males,
this.
yeah.
I did not know
I
this.
find, at least in the same sex, in terms of the male same-sex sex assaults, often an attempt is made to contain or deal with the allegations within the community versus taking it to the police. I've had a lot of clients tell me that it's rare for
them to go to the police.
for same-sex type male cases to go to the police, because it's a community that's to this day not entirely perceived,
I didn't
fairly
know
or
this.
neutrally.
Well, I
but
had it where the complainant was a minor.
Mhm.
That's different.
That's different. But go ahead.
Well, this one was actually I do have that. I'm sorry, I do have male on male, but the complainant is a minor. But that is a different one. These are like adults who were in a relationship, and the complainant claims that she never had a relationship with my client. She alleged 3 different counts of sex assault, and the most serious one involved actual penetration with a sex toy. So, long story short, she had issues because there was this business transaction that was ongoing previously that went south because my client had invested in her business. Relationship did not go so well. My client said, okay, you know what, this is not working. Give me what is owed. The complainant did not wish to give that. And there was some allegation that the complainant made that, well, my client is posting online about the money that is owed, and she did not wish for her to do that. So she goes to the police and says, well, she's been harassing me. One thing leads to another. She starts making sexual assault allegations against my client. So the first one being that she used a sex toy against my will. Second one being she forcefully kissed me. And third one, she's trying to like get on top of me to do things to me. Now, my client is like, all of this, what she's saying is a lie. Obviously, this never happened. And the complainant claims that we never had a relationship with each other, but we were friends with benefits. That is the thing that we both had. She provided messages to me, which shows that before, the allegation started, like let's say the allegation was like, first allegation happened in March, April, May, so forth. I received messages from my clients in which the complainant is sexting with my client. And there's obviously this conversation between the both of them, which infers that there is something going on between them and not that they did not have any relationship. So we obviously prepared the application, filed it 276, 278. My Crown very reasonable acknowledges that, yeah, this is a bit damaging, but, we're still going to go to trial. We go stage 1, we go to stage 2, procedurally the complainant should come to come to stage 2 through a counsel, but she's gone kaput. No one knows where she is. Her lawyers are trying to get in touch with her. She doesn't respond. We keep adjourning and reach until the day of the trial. No one knows where she is. And then finally, she just shows up 5 minutes before 10 o'clock. So essentially, the complainant doesn't show up on stage 2. She doesn't show up for, the interim days to find out where she is. Nobody knows where she is. Police is trying to get in touch with her. But she just somehow shows up on the day of her trial, 5 minutes before 10 o'clock. And the Crown and I are just staring at each other like, now what, right? Because even the Crown was thinking that she's not going to show up because she was not responding to anyone. Well, I had a reasonable Crown. He had whatever discussions he had at his end, but we actually did not even go to trial. My client's charges got withdrawn by way for peace bond. Oh, wow. So
Excellent.
yeah, so serious charges, and you feel bad, right? Like you see the emotional side of your clients suffering. The money aspect is different,
It's
but
different, yeah.
they lose their employment, their family life is destroyed, and
It's horrible. Like the case I had, he was suspended from work for now almost 2 years with pay. He was lucky.
Right.
Some places just outright suspend you, period,
right, they
without
don't listen
pay.
to anything that you have to say.
Like I have a new sex assault allegation where suspended without pay. Like what?
Yeah.
The allegation has nothing to do with the
And you're
workplace.
presumed innocent until proven guilty, but
Not by some employers.
the problem is the stigma attached to these allegations.
Of course.
They really, you're crucified in the community. People don't want to come to your house. Your banks are like, oh, we don't want to do business with you. Your
Right.
employers throw you out. You don't have a source of income. What do? And your only person that you can speak with freely is your lawyer.
Right.
So it is a difficult task at the end of the day. So I'll take anyone. for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Okay. Pillow talk.
pillow talk. So those were our recent successes.
More to come.
More to come. I won't say it.
No, don't. She's dying to say donate, but
Donate. Do not forget to comment, subscribe, and share.
right. Thanks, folks. Have a
Thank you,
good night.
everyone.
Joe will be back soon.
He will be.
Bye.
Bye-bye.